What's up, Bills Mafia? It's another day to talk Buffalo Bills football. And let me tell you, this team is all about getting better. From the front office to the final man on the depth chart, the Bills are working overtime to build something special heading into the 2025 season. And with a new crop of talent and returning key pieces, there's real hope in Buffalo. Before we dive into this exclusive report, smash that like button if you're proud to be part of the Mafia. And don't forget to subscribe for more insider stories, player updates, and bold predictions all season long. We're talking about dynasty football, roster depth, and yes, one of the biggest wild cards on this offense, Joshua Palmer. Fantasy managers and dynasty football players were buzzing when Joshua Palmer inked his 3-year, $29 million deal with the Buffalo Bills. On the surface, it felt like a breakout opportunity. New team, new QB, new chapter. But when you take a closer look, the road to stardom isn't quite so clear. Why? Because Palmer just joined one of the most crowded wide receiver rooms in the entire NFL. Here's a look at who he's competing with. Khalil Shakir, quietly emerging as a reliable WR1 for Josh Allen. Keon Coleman, second-year wideout with a high-ceiling Elijah Moore, still flashing that separation ability Curtis Samuel, the versatile veteran with chemistry from his Carolina days Caden Prather, rookie with raw athleticism and long-term upside. And don't forget the tight ends. Dalton Kincaid. A breakout season is brewing. Dawson Knox. Red zone specialist Jackson Hawes, the developmental guy with sneaky value, there's no shortage of targets in Buffalo. Let's zoom out and talk Palmer's dynasty trajectory. Drafted in the 3rd round by the Chargers back in 2021, Palmer had flashes, most notably a solid 2022 campaign with 72 catches for 769 yards. But outside of that, he struggled to reach 40 receptions in any other season. He's only found the end zone 10 times in 59 games. He's been efficient, though. Over the past 2 years, Palmer ranked in the top 20 in yards per reception. That tells us he's still got juice on intermediate and deep routes. That's a trait the Bills sorely needed. But here's the reality. In 2024, ESPN Analytics gave him a career-low 41 overall rating, and his yards after catch numbers dipped dramatically. So, what's the verdict? High upside but a limited role, at least for now. So where does Palmer sit in dynasty leagues? According to Keep Trade Cut, he's currently number 237 overall, number 82 among wide receivers. Value on 2,000 points on a 19999 scale. That's WR6 territory. In a 12-team league. Translation? Low cost, low risk. Now imagine this scenario. Palmer goes off in week 1, hauls in 6 catches for 95 yards and a score. That price tag skyrockets, and suddenly he's off the trade block. He might not be the guy you start every week, but if you get him now, you're betting on Josh Allen elevating him. And we've seen what Allen can do with under-the-radar guys, like Shakir and Isaiah McKenzie in the past. So is now the perfect time to buy low. For Palmer to truly explode in Buffalo, a few things need to break his way. Consistency from Josh Allen, which we already have. A clearly defined role, likely as a chain mover on 3rd down 3. Injury to a top target. Not something we root for, but it could happen if Khalil Shakir misses time. Palmer could easily become Allen's go-to guy on 3rd downs. That would give him the volume bump needed to shift from a WR6 to a weekly flex option, or even WR3. But let's be real here. You can't make fantasy decisions based on hypotheticals. So while he's got upside, tempered expectations are key. Still, in real football terms, Palmer could be a critical role player for the Bills. And that alone could be enough to keep Buffalo in Super Bowl contention. Now, before we wrap, let's pivot to another breaking story involving a former Bills defender, Rasul Douglas. According to Barry Jackson from the Miami Herald, Douglas quietly visited the Miami Dolphins over the weekend. The Dolphins even made an offer, but talks didn't lead to a deal. Douglas also visited the Seattle Seahawks, who are actively seeking cornerback depth. For those keeping score, Rasul Douglas was traded to the Bills in October of 2023 from the Packers. In 2024, he played in 15 games, racking up 58 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble, 5 pass deflections. Douglas brought leadership, swagger, and physicality to the secondary. But the Bills made tough choices this offseason and ultimately moved on. It's going to be interesting to see where he lands. Whether it's Miami or Seattle, you know he's got that chip on his shoulder. And that fire is real. Let's kick things off with the man who's been at the center of a lot of quiet buzz. Running back James Cook. Now, Cook hasn't been at the Bills' voluntary offseason workouts, and that's raised some eyebrows. While it's not unusual for veterans to skip these sessions, when a player is in a contract year or seeking an extension, it gets noticed. So when James Cook made an appearance at a celebrity poker game, yeah, not at practice, but at a high-profile poker event, he got asked about it. And here's what he said via pokernews.com. Business is business. I always do what I can to be available to my teammates. I don't want to talk too much about it right now. I want to keep that to myself and let the business handle itself. That's a mature veteran answer, but also a little cryptic. The Bills haven't extended him yet, and he's watching players around the league, even ones with less production, lock up long-term deals. You have to wonder if Cook is starting to feel like his contributions aren't being recognized the way they should be. Let's not forget, the man rushed for over 100 yards last season, added over 400 receiving yards, and gave us one of the most dynamic dual-threat backfield performances in the AFC. And he did that in a system that wasn't even run-heavy. So what's the holdup? Could it be that Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott aren't sold on paying running backs big money? Or are they waiting to see how 2025 shakes out before committing long-term? Either way, this is a developing story. If Cook skips mandatory minicamp or training camp, it'll get loud and fast. Next up, let's talk about a sneaky good signing that might have gotten lost in the shuffle. Elijah Moore, the Bills inked. Moore to a 1-year, $2.5 million fully guaranteed deal, including a $750K signing bonus. This is a smart, low-risk, high-upside move. Moore's a former second-round pick who flashed serious potential with the Jets early in his career, but never really found consistency in Cleveland. Now, he's in Buffalo playing with Josh Allen, and he's got a chance to carve out a real role. And let me tell you, this WR room is crowded. You've got Khalil Shakir, the steady breakout candidate Keon Coleman, the big-bodied sophomore with loads of pressure, Curtis Samuel, the Swiss Army knife Joshua Palmer, another new addition with deep ball potential, rookie Caden Prather. Intriguing size and tools, that's 5 guys already. Add in elite tight ends like Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox, and there's not a ton of room left for targets. But Moore brings something different. He's a twitchy route runner who can work out of the slot and stretch defenses horizontally. If he clicks with Allen early in camp, don't be surprised if he becomes a third down weapon or gadget guy in Joe Brady's offense. 1-year deal, proven talent, a hungry attitude. Bills Mafia, don't sleep on Elijah Moore. All right, Bills fans, let's step outside of Buffalo for a second and check in on our AFC East rivals. Because let's be real, if we want to control the East and get that playoff bye, we need to know what's coming. First stop, the New York Jets. You've probably heard the name Mason Taylor floating around. Tight end rookie and the son of Hall of Fame pass rusher Jason Taylor. Yeah, big name, big expectations. Taylor told the Associated Press, "There are big expectations just because of the last name. But I embrace it. I love that we're a football family." That's the kind of attitude you want to see. The Jets believe he can become a security blanket for Aaron Rodgers, assuming Rodgers stays healthy and engaged, of course. With guys like Armand Membo anchoring the O-line and getting high praise from coaches, this Jets team is being built with toughness. Jets defensive coach Aaron Glenn even described Membu as agile and explosive, saying he's more than just your typical dancing bear O-lineman. These are the kinds of pieces that could help New York stay relevant if they can put it all together. Now, over to the Patriots. Let's give a little spotlight to linebacker Christian Ellis. His story? Straight up inspiring. After bouncing around the league, cut by the Vikings, 49ers, and Eagles, the guy finally got a break. He received a 2-year, $13.5 million offer from the Raiders. New England matched it, and when he signed, he broke down in tears. Ellis said, "I've been cut 6 or 7 times. I was sitting with my wife just crying. We've been bouncing all over the place, but now we're thinking about buying a home, giving our kids some stability. This was special. That's real life. That's the human side of the NFL that we don't talk about enough. And guess what? Guys like Ellis, who fight for everything tend to bring an edge to the field. The Pats are building a new identity under Jared Mayo, and Ellis could be a cornerstone of that shift. So there you have it. Bills Mafia, Joshua Palmer, a potential hidden gem in a crowded offense, and Rasul Douglas, a familiar face who could end up facing us in 2025. Here's what I want to know from you. Do you think Palmer will break out this season with Josh Allen throwing him the ball? Is he worth targeting in dynasty leagues? And would you be worried if Rasul Douglas signed with the Dolphins or Seahawks? Let me know down in the comments. I read every single one. And as always, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell so you never miss a minute of Buffalo Bills content. Until next time, stay loud, stay proud, and as always, go Bills!